I have with me Paul Mecurio, and Paul is an Emmy Peabody winning comedian and host of the Paul Mecurio Show on iTunes. Paul is on a tour in Omaha, and I want to talk to him about that as well. Paul, good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to see you. How are you?
All is well. I was watching some of your openings last night, and you're a pretty funny guy.
I'm trying. I got. If not, they throw stuff at you in the clubs, you know?
No, you're very, very good, man. I really enjoyed watching that last night, preparing for the show.
You look like you work out. You got like guns. What's going on there? Look at you.
I work out a little bit. You know, if I don't, Paul, I'll become fat as a pig. So
you can't not eat, right? It's too much good food out there, especially now with the holidays coming.
I'm telling you, man. You know, last night, New York dealt with a failed terrorist attack.
Right.
And so I was wondering about you this morning. Are you as happy as I am that we have the great white hope in the White House to deal with this kind of stuff?
I think that part of Trump, you know, I do think that there's a good plan and a good person to sort of lead that. I mean, I do, especially living in New York City, you know, you're always on pins and needles here now, you know, after 9/11. Well, anywhere in the world, I guess, but especially here.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you know, because there's this whole thing about the Muslim community, and all Muslims aren't terrorists. But what I find in talking and doing my stand-up around the country is that we're very, very much in a PC culture, right?
Yeah.
So I'm Italian. I'm 100% Italian. So when people hear that, they immediately think the mafia. Okay, I'm okay with that, right? It is what it is, right? Every movie that comes out of Hollywood, right, is about the mafia. So I'm giving you this background because I have something I want to say about the Muslim community. So, for example, I've got a friend. His name is John, and he's Chinese. And whenever he sees me, he always says to me, "Hey, Paulie, how you doing? How you doing?" Well, I'm not Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. I don't talk like that, right?
That's right.
But I'm a little insulted, you know. I mean, I can't say to him, "Hey, George, how you doing?" You know, if I said that to him, I would be considered a racist. Now, there was this attempted bombing yesterday. A while back, there was a bombing one night, and then the next morning, I got on the subway, and there were two women in full burqas the minute the door opened. Now, I don't think all Muslims are terrorists, but unfortunately, there are people that mainly from the Muslim community, they're doing this form of terrorism, just like mainly Italians are in the mafia, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, we get categorized in life, okay? And so I don't think all Muslims are terrorists. I think that that's an ignorant point of view. But when I saw these two women in full burqas, for a second, I thought, boom, terrorism. I did.
That's right. I do too.
And then I said, "Can I talk about this?" And I think I should talk about it because, you know, I mean, look, I understand that burqa is an important part of the religion, and I don't think that they should not wear it. But it was 12 hours after a bombing. I'm thinking one day leave the burqa home, just one day. You know what I mean? Like, wear a hoodie, just like wear a hoodie for one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if you really want to not listen to the discourse, you can parse that as me being racist and Islamophobic and all of that. It's not. Like when you see me, you don't see a Chinese guy. You don't see a black man. You see an Italian guy, and Italians tend to get attributed with talking with their hands, which is actually true, and mafia. Now, I could be upset about that, and I could have a march about it, or just go, you know, it is what it is. And I don't think Muslims have it easy right now, but there is this categorization that you might do that I think is understandable, but you have to be careful not to make every Muslim a terrorist either.
I also think that when they come here, Paul, they should not be allowed to wear those things. They should not be allowed to cover up and fool like that because of the terrorist attacks. And, you know, you can really hide a lot of bums behind those clothes. I think that when they come to America, they need to become Americans. And if they're unwilling to do that, then they can stay home. They don't have to come here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure I can get completely on board with that part of it. I mean, I think that if there's, like I said, and I've been saying consistently about this, that there's a lot of good Muslim Americans, or a lot of good Italian Americans, or a lot of great African Americans, and then there's bad apples in every bunch, you
Yeah.
know. And so
But
I think that if that's an important part of their culture, that's fine. I do think that they don't get a pass in terms of how they're treated in this country. They shouldn't get treated any more specially than anybody else, but they shouldn't be treated any less than anybody else either.
society has become more and more politically correct.
God, it's
That's
unbelievable.
yeah, that's bad. I don't like that.
If I see you in a club and you're sitting there, and I say to you, "So, sir, you're black," most of the audience will go, and I'm like, "Well, what? He's black. What am I supposed to?" Like, and then I literally had this the other day. I said, "Okay, sir," and I pointed to another guy, an Asian guy. I go, "Sir, stand up, turn around. Like, see this guy? He's Asian. Okay, we're all still here. No, the world didn't end. We have to find the balance." I was in Central Park. I live in New York City. It's a true story, and I know a lot of comics say that. I'm walking my dog with my wife. We have our dog on a leash. It's the law in New York. Your dog is supposed to be on a leash.
Right.
There's a guy whose dog was not on a leash, and the dog looked really aggressive, and it was making everybody uncomfortable around us. So I said to the guy, and I was really nice. I said, "Excuse me, sir, you know, your dog, it really should be on a leash." He goes, "Why? Because it's a pit bull?" like, like implying, Jesse, that I was racist toward pit bulls. Like literally, like that was the argument he wanted to start with me. And I went, "No, sir, because it's got a baby in its mouth. All right, that's why. Okay, okay, that's why." I mean,
Oh God.
and he was Puerto Rican, I think, or Latino, and I could tell he was looking for a fight. He was looking for an argument, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like the pendulum is swung
Yeah.
too far this way, right?
That's
Now,
right.
there was a time when you and I were a kid. I don't know, we're maybe around the same age, a little while, whatever. When we could do things in this country you can't do today. When every Halloween, my parents worked a lot. They had like 2 jobs or whatever. Every Halloween, they were too tired. We didn't have enough money to buy costumes. They would send me as a hobo every Halloween. Hobo. You could not do that. Jesse. What's a hobo? A hobo is a homeless person.
That's right.
My parents dressed me as a homeless person and sent me out onto the streets at night to collect free food in front of real homeless people.
We need to return back to those days. I love those days. We need to get back to that.
Can I just say something? This is how it was when I was a kid. This is how much it's changed. Again, this is not made up. I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, in New England. And I was a swimmer growing up. I loved to swim. And I spent all of my time at the boys' club. It was a way my parents kept me out of trouble,
Right.
not hanging on the streets. Every week, they would send out a program of activities at the boys' club. I swear to God, they had a 7 to 9 age group, all boys naked swim. You were required. I swear to God, you were required to swim naked. You were not allowed to wear a bathing suit. Think about that today. That would not. There would be no way. The whole place would be shut down.
I grew up in Alabama, and when we would want to swim, we'd have to go down to the creek in the back of the house, and we just took off all our clothes and jumped into the creek and didn't think nothing about it at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know about bathing suits until I moved to the city. I grew up in a plantation down there, and so it was nothing at all. It wasn't nothing to it at all. Just swimming.
And we ran around, and they said, although the rationale was a little thin, the boys' club said they don't want the lint from the bathing suit to clog the filter of the pool. Like, really? The pool's filled with 7-year-old boys. It's 98% pee. You're worried about a little lint?
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, you couldn't do that in Alabama now. You couldn't do that in Rhode Island. Like there'd be news stories and petitions and everything else.
I know, all kind of accusations. Jay Leno first hired you to write his jokes, and I read that you left Wall Street as a lawyer and investment banker to become a comedian. Is that true?
Yeah, you have that look on your face like my parents did when I told them. Literally, your face all went like that. It was all like, what are you, out of your mind? No, it's a great question. Yeah, I did. I was, I was practicing law. I went to law school in Washington, D.C. I was in New York, and I was practicing law, and one thing led to another, and I started writing jokes as a hobby. And I was working all night as I was working on these big merger deals. And look, I'm a middle-class Italian kid from Rhode Island. My father put floors in for a living. I don't come from money or anything like that, but I had this like really nice job. And Jay Leno was a private entertainment at this function that my firm was invited to. I was pulling another all-nighter. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go. And then I'm like, you know what? I need a break. I'll take an hour. And as I'm standing up to go put my coat on, I go, the heck with it. And I hit the print button, and I printed out all these jokes that I had. And I basically, I don't know, I guess I thought, maybe somehow I'll get this guy to look at my jokes. So I did. So I go up to him after the function. I go, I don't know if you need jokes, but I have jokes. And he goes, okay. I hand him my jokes, and he took them, and I thought he was going to just, it was very nice and going to throw them away. And 2 days later, he called me, and he goes, hey, I read your jokes. I'll hire you to start sending jokes in for the Tonight Show monologue. And I thought it was my friend David because he does impressions, and I told him how excited I was about meeting Jay Leno a couple of days earlier. So I go, yeah, right. Nice impression, Dave. And he goes, no, really, it's Jay Leno. I'm like, no, yeah, right. And I go, you do a lousy Jay Leno. And I said that to Jay Leno. He goes, I don't know. I think I do a pretty good Jay Leno. I'm like, all right, okay. And then when I finally realized, I'm like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. So he hired me to start sending jokes in, and he did one of the first joke he did was a week later. He paid me $50 for the joke, and it blew my head off my shoulders. It transformed me. It was like he paid me $50 for this joke.
Yeah.
Was we can make much more than that at my job. And it totally just grabbed me. It like reached through the screen. And I think it was because there was this box that I watched my whole life where jokes and comedy and entertainment came out of it. And now something I created was coming out of it. So it was a much more fulfilling thing than what I was doing. And then I started to live a secret double life where I was a lawyer by day, and at night I was a comedian at going to dive bars around New York City. And I think you'll get a kick out of this. One of the places I worked, it was such a dive bar. It was called Downtown Beirut 2. That was the name of the club. Apparently they were franchising these heck places, or somebody blew up one. I don't know, but there was a Downtown Beirut 2. And there was like a dysfunctional Cheers, and there was a hooker that worked out of there, and they dealt drugs out of there, and I did comedy in the back room, and then I go back to work. It was crazy.
That's amazing story, Paul, how that came about. I got to ask, because of time here, were you really depressed when the IRS audited you?
Oh, my God. How did you know about that? You did good research, buddy. I'll tell you. You need to work for the CIA if you don't already. Yeah, I at that point I decided to do comedy full time. I sold my nice 2-bedroom fancy apartment in New York City, and I moved to a rooming house. It was a giant house where I shared a kitchen and bathroom with 8 other people, and it was 2 ex-cons, 2 recovering addicts, and I lived just below a 300-pound phone sex operator who sold Herbalife diet products door to door. I swear to God. And in the middle of this, I get audited by the IRS because I had filed my first year's return as a comedian, and I had no income. And I went from like 6 figures to no income. And they called me in, and the guy goes to me, I see you had all these papers. I see you had a lot of money and then no money. What happened? I go, well, I was a lawyer and investment banker, and I quit to be a comedian. And he took a long pause, and he goes, yeah, right. What'd you do with all the money? Like, he didn't believe me, right? I'm like, no, I swear. He goes, and then he goes, quote, no person in their right mind would do that. Yeah. Where's the money? And I'm like, no, I swear to God, I did it. And then I had to like tap dance for the next 2 days interrogated by this guy, you know.
Amazing. In short, what skills did you pick up as a result of being a lawyer and becoming a comedian?
Well, that's a great question. Being argumentative in a good way, like in other words, being able to create a situation that I think an argument for a situation that makes sense. Like I tend to get in a lot of confrontations, like in consumer situations, because I believe there's like no customer service anymore. Right. My wife's like, I got to let it go a little bit, but I feel like you have to say something or things don't change. Like I really do. Like I feel like if something's not right, someone needs to say something so that gets fixed or that thing doesn't happen again to you or to another person. So for example, just a small thing, I had to have this conversation at a supermarket 4 days ago. I had 8 items on the express lane belt, and the guy goes to me, you want a bag for those? I go, yeah. And then he looked at me like I had two heads. He goes, you do? I go, yeah. He goes, you want a bag? I go, yeah, it's 8 items. You want a bag? I go, it's 8 items. You want? I go, it's 8 loose items. I go, you know what? No, don't give me a bag. Give me an octopus and he'll carry it all home. Okay. Then here's the big thing, right? They want you to self-check out now, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, you could self-check because they want to save money, so they don't want to hire people, and these poor kids are getting laid off. He goes, you could self-check out. I go, oh, okay, that's no problem. I go, but I'm going to need the employee discount code. He goes, why? Are you an employee? I go, apparently I am now.
That's right.
and so that sort of is the kind of stuff that I tend to kind of go back on my lawyering skills a little bit,
Amazing. So you're on a tour December 14th through the 17th in Omaha. Tell us about that. How can people find you and all the good stuff?
They can go to my website, paulmecurio.com. It's 1 R in my last name, Mecurio. If you do 2, there's an Australian actor a totally different guy who wears really tight pants. Because he was I swear to God, I had to change the spelling of my name because of this guy. And he had a picture on his website, and my friends were Googling me, and they get his picture, and he had these super tight pants and like a sleeveless T-shirt, and my friends are calling me up like, "Are you a stripper now? What are these pictures of you?" Right? So it's paulmecurio.com, or they could go to the Omaha Funny Bone website. It's the Omaha Funny Bone. It'd be a great time. I've been there before. It's Thursday through Sunday, December 14th to the 17th, and always a great time, and the crowds there are really cool. And so either way, through my website or through the Omaha Funny website, they can go get tickets.
Well, Paul, you're really, really funny. So I'm going to have to come and check you out here in L.A.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll let you know when I'm coming out there, and we can get together. And then you can take me to the gym and show me your workout. I want to get some Jesse guns.
I have an excellent plan, too. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a good time.
And Merry Christmas to you.
You too. And you can say Merry Christmas, right? We're not going to get in trouble for saying that. And guess what, everybody? I'm getting a Christmas tree. It's going to be green, and there's going to be stuff on it, maybe a cross and everything. It'll be awesome.
That's right. God bless you, man. Thank you.
All right, you too. Have a great holiday. Thank you.
All right now. Amazing.